The true story of the four fallen angels chained in the river Euphrates. In the early days of creation, before time was counted, four angels descended from heaven, sent on a divine mission to observe and learn about humanity. These ethereal beings, wrapped in light and majesty, were messengers of God, tasked with understanding the essence of mortals, their joys and sufferings. Each one carried a unique gift. Azazel, the wise, possessed the knowledge of hidden truths. Samyaza, the beautiful, radiated a charm that drew everyone around him. Gadreel, the strong, was the guardian of hope and protection. And Ramiel, the sensitive, had the ability to understand the longings and fears of the human heart. As they observed humans in their fragility, the angels began to nurture a curiosity that quickly transformed into a burning desire. They saw love and pain, the struggle for survival and the quest for beauty, and, fascinated, began to wonder how they could engage more deeply in the lives that intrigued them so. This desire, initially innocent, began to root itself in their hearts, leading them to question the limits of their own existence. Thus, what was meant to be a simple mission of observation became a journey driven by a desire for connection, a yearning to be part of the creation they admired. But this quest for understanding led them to cross a sacred line, challenging divine decrees. The impulse to help humans, to share knowledge and gifts that in their minds could bring greatness, became a catalyst for their fall. These angels, once illuminated, now became known as the fallen, forever marked by their transgression and by the pain that curiosity brought not only to themselves, but to all of humanity. The fall of the angels. The fall of the angels was not an isolated event, but rather the climax of a process that began with curiosity and the desire to understand humanity. Throughout their mission in the mortal world, the four angels, Azazel, Samyaza, Gadreel, and Ramiel, were gradually seduced by the complexity of human emotions and the nuances of earthly life. What began as an innocent study transformed into an intense quest for connection and understanding. As they observed humans, the angels encountered a multitude of feelings and experiences: love, pain, joy, betrayal, hope, and despair. They realized that mortals were endowed with a freedom they themselves did not know, a freedom that allowed them to choose between good and evil. This realization ignited a deep desire in the angels to actively participate in human life, to be more than mere observers. Azazel, the wisest among them, began to question the divine orders that restricted them. He believed that humans could benefit from a deeper knowledge and skills that would aid them in their daily struggles. Samyaza, the beautiful, saw the fragility of human beauty and longed to offer mortals a perspective that would inspire them to value life. Gadreel, with his kind heart, yearned to be a protector, while Ramiel, always sensitive, wished to be a comfort in times of pain. The four angels, Azazel, Samyaza, Gadreel, and Ramiel, were friends who trusted each other. Azazel was the wisest, always questioning divine orders. Samyaza was the most beautiful, a beacon of light that attracted mortals. Gadreel, the strongest, had a kind heart, while Ramiel, the most sensitive, understood human frailties. Once, while observing humans in their fragility and pain, Azazel suggested they help the creatures. They decided to descend to Earth, bringing knowledge and gifts, but they did not realize they were challenging divine laws. The angels taught humans to cultivate the land, forge metals, and measure time. However, they also revealed darker secrets, such as war and ambition. The world began to change. Love mixed with hatred, and beauty with destruction. The once innocent humans became corrupted by their own creations. The heavens watched with concern. God summoned the angels and, with sadness, said, "You have not only disobeyed the command, but also sowed discord among my children." As punishment, the four angels were chained on the banks of the river Euphrates, a place where their tears would mix with the eternal waters. There, they would remain forever, unable to help the humans they loved so dearly, and their lament would echo through the ages. Azazel, in his wisdom, understood that their actions were driven by love but transformed by ambition. Samyaza, with his beauty now in decay, reflected on the vanity that led him to fall. Gadreel, with his broken heart, thought of the lives that could have been saved, while Ramiel wept for the pain of humans, feeling the guilt of not having foreseen the consequences. The sacrifice. As the centuries passed, humans faced wars, famine, and despair. The angels, even in chains, continued to feel the pains and joys of humanity. In their suffering, Azazel had an idea. They could channel their pain into hope. The angels began to emit a faint glow that illuminated the darkest nights, guiding the lost. Their presence became a symbol of resistance and resilience. People began to tell stories about the four angels, believing that they still watched over and protected those striving for a better world. Over time, the stories of the fallen angels became myths and legends. However, there was a young man named Eli who, upon hearing the tales, decided to seek the Euphrates. He wanted to understand the pain of the angels and, on his journey, met an old sage who told him about their sacrifice. Inspired, Eli decided to do something different. Instead of calling for help, he began to aid his community, spreading compassion and love as the angels had wished. His actions brought about change, and others joined him, creating a movement of hope. The four angels, even in chains, felt the vibrations of human kindness. On a starry night, the light they emitted became more intense. God, witnessing the transformation in human hearts, decided to free them, not from their chains but from their guilt. At last, Azazel, Samyaza, Gadreel, and Ramiel were welcomed back into heaven, not as those who had fallen, but as symbols of redemption. The chains that bound them were transformed into stars, and their stories became part of the eternal tapestry of life, reminding everyone that even in the midst of a fall, there is always hope for resurgence. The judgment and punishment. God, recognizing the gravity of the situation, summoned the four angels. The celestial court was silent, the tension palpable. With a look of sadness, God declared that the fall of the angels could not be ignored. They had crossed the limits of what was permitted, and their actions resulted in pain and suffering. Instead of being instruments of goodness, they had become catalysts of destruction. As punishment, Azazel, Samyaza, Gadreel, and Ramiel were chained on the banks of the river Euphrates, a place that would become a symbol of their choices. There, their voices would echo in eternal lament, and their tears would mix with the waters they watched helplessly. Although still endowed with great power, they were now trapped in a cycle of regret and pain. The fall of the angels not only altered the destiny of the four celestial beings, but also left an indelible mark on the history of humanity. The lessons learned from their transgression reverberated through the generations. The story of the fallen angels became a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition and the pursuit of knowledge without responsibility. Though the angels were chained, their essences continued to resonate in the human heart. People, upon hearing the stories of Azazel, Samyaza, Gadreel, and Ramiel, began to reflect on their own choices and the fragility of the line between light and darkness. The fall, therefore, transformed into a narrative of redemption, a reminder that even those who have deeply erred can still inspire goodness and compassion. Thus, the story of the fall of the angels lives on, not just as a tale of tragedy, but as a call to responsibility, reflection, and hope that the true essence of love and kindness can always prevail, even amidst the shadows of the fall. Thus, the story of the fall of the angels lives on, not just as a tale of tragedy, but as a call to responsibility, reflection, and hope that the true essence of love and kindness can always prevail, even amidst the shadows of the fall. The narrative serves as a profound reminder that even the most noble intentions can lead to unforeseen consequences. It urges us to be mindful of our choices, recognizing that the pursuit of knowledge and power, if unchecked by compassion and humility, can spiral into chaos. This lesson resonates through the ages, encouraging individuals to reflect on their own motivations and the impact of their actions on the world around them. Moreover, the story emphasizes the potential for redemption. Just as the fallen angels found a way to channel their pain into hope, so too can we transform our struggles into sources of strength. It inspires a belief in the possibility of healing, not just for ourselves, but for the communities we inhabit. This idea serves as a beacon of light, reminding us that every setback can lead to growth, and every mistake can pave the way for a renewed purpose.